as you know from yesterday's video, I got several mowers here, and they all came in basically during the 2 days it was 80 degrees. Everybody got excited. I think that one came in a little bit earlier. I know it came in a little bit earlier, but the other three all came in, I think, in 2 days. I had to pick up both John Deeres. I had to pick those up, and I've decided that I'm going to charge more this year for pickups than I did last year. Last year I just wanted to test the water. So, but putting wear and tear on the truck and having to drive it and gasoline, the winch, that's all got to be paid for. The winch isn't going to last forever. I mean, that's a maintenance item, that's a replace item. The 2x4s and that, they'll eventually rot. Maybe not within my lifetime, but they will rot eventually. I mean, the porch is made out of the same material, or the bridge and the porch, and they haven't rotted. So, but it's I guess it's, I should be charging for that stuff, and we'll just see how it goes. I do think that it is. Here's the thing: I get a lot of people that want me to come and work on their equipment on their property. And here's what I don't understand about that: mobile mechanics are notoriously more expensive than mechanics that work in their own shop. I mean, they got a lot of expenses. You got to have a big truck with all those tools that are portable. And the thing is, 9 times out of 10, they end up having to take the mower back to the shop because they don't have a tool, or they don't have a part. They got to do something and buy parts. It's just a lot of driving, so they're just notoriously more expensive. But they want me to come out and work on their equipment. But then when I say, well, I'll pick it up for this amount of money, they don't want to do it. So it just never makes sense to me. And you're not going to find anybody to come out and do it mobile. So I don't understand it. Not around here. There's just nobody doing it. The thing is there's always somebody new every year doing lawnmower repair. Oh, I'll give it a shot this year, and within the first month they've already closed up shop. So I don't have any competition. Now I'm charging 2 different prices, and I know there are trolls that just insist that I need to get a trailer, and no matter how many times I try to explain it, the trolls will tell me I'm wrong. But I'm not getting a trailer. And I've even researched this on AI. There's actually one road around here that you're not allowed to have a trailer on. Which is funny because people have lake houses here, which means they have boats. But what they do in this one particular area is they can store their boats in this lot. It's a gravel lot at the entrance of their cul-de-sac. I mean, you really got to understand how this works. You got $1 million mansions, and it's on a gravel road. It's quite incredible, actually. So anyway, the reason I don't have a trailer is because there's sometimes I would have to back up maybe a mile on a one lane road. And what makes matters worse is if oncoming traffic is coming, you have to find a driveway or something to get into to park, so you can maneuver around each other. All these roads are like this out over there by the lake. Well, imagine doing that with a trailer. I'm not going to do it. It's just not worth the headache. Some people say we need to get a smaller trailer. You can take it off, pick it up, pull it around. But why? I feel like I have a good system. Now, here's the thing. If I need to get a mower that's 50, well, actually below 50 inches, so basically 48 inches or less, I charge a lower price because I can get that on the back of the truck without taking the deck off. But 50 inches or more, I have to take the deck off. So I charge a little bit more, not a lot. to count for the time. So, but they don't want to pay it. The thing is if they were to get it picked up by the shop in town, they charge $100 an hour, and they charge $100 to pick it up and $100 to return it. The thing is now, I guess this isn't true. If you want me to pick up a 48-inch or less, I can do it cheaper than getting a U-Haul trailer. But if I do it for a 50-inch or more, I don't do it cheaper than a U-Haul. So they will say, well, what are my options? I'll say, well, you can get a U-Haul. And they'll say, well, okay, yeah, that's a good idea, but how do I get that down my road? Exactly. So I'm not the only one, trolls, that won't go down those roads with trailers. It's just dangerous. I mean, imagine that. I mean, I end up making the trailer go off the road, and it flops off into somebody's retaining wall. Now I'm replacing a retaining wall, getting a new trailer, and replacing a lawnmower, all in one little backup. There just isn't any options. I mean, I almost got the truck jammed up one time. Huge hill. I'm in the guy's driveway, and I back into his parking spot. So let's just say this is a huge hill. Coming from the camper, let's say that's the camper's road. Let's say the camper's the main road. Then you got the drive going up this huge hill. I got two-wheel drive truck. And so you go up, and before you get up to the top of his drive, he's got a parking spot right here. So I went up, and then I came back in and backed in to the parking spot. I thought that should work out great. So then, I guess the camper's too far. Let's say the well. Let's call it the well. So I come out to turn back onto the drive from the parking spot, and I can't clear the ditch. There's a ditch right here, and the truck just swings right into it. I can't back up. It's a straight up hill, it won't back up. And it was a nightmare. I mean, I just knew I was going to go off into that ditch. So I eased it over very carefully, and I was able to clear it, but barely. I mean, barely. But boy, that was a tight spot to be in. And, you know, you got to get a tow truck. I mean, I've had that truck stuck on one of these lake roads before. And it's not fun. And the thing is, the homeowner told me to back into this one spot. I said, I don't know. I don't think I can get out of that. Oh, yeah, you can. So he insisted. And, nope, had to get a tow truck. That was $120. So, no, I'm not getting a trailer. And, but I guess I lose business because I'm not mobile. But if I were mobile, I'd probably lose business because I'm too expensive. The other thing is I need to be here as much as possible, because when people drop by, they want me here, which makes sense. You know, unless I tell them, yeah, I'm picking up a mower, they get kind of upset. The other day, let me explain this. So last year, a guy comes over, and I'm picking up a mower. And he calls and tries to call. Of course, I'm up there by the lake, and there's, you know, I'm not getting a signal. Finally, a text message gets through. And I said, well, I'm picking up a mower. And he all of a sudden calmed down. You could tell in his text, oh, okay, take your time, that kind of thing. He said, I'll be there as fast as I can. I got here, and he was fine. But now, he's very cautious. He makes sure he messages before he gets here and all that kind of stuff. Well, he messaged the other day, and I said, no, I'm out picking up a mower. Which mower was I picking up? I'm thinking yeah, I was picking up that John Deere there. This one. And so I said, no, I'm picking up a mower. Oh, and I didn't hear a reply back from him. I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? So anyway, we go and pick up the mower, come back to town, stop at the gas station real quick. Just real quick, wanted to pick something up. And as I'm starting to head into the store, into the gas station, he says, hey, where you been? I said, I replied to you. He was in his truck. And he looks at his phone and he says, "Oh, you did, didn't you?" "Oh, well, that's okay. I had some other stuff to do in town." I'm like, man. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what I do. I got to be here 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I've told you this in the past. People call it 9 o'clock at night. It's insane. So, but, you know, we're going to get busy again. It's only March, and I already got, what, 4 mowers here. The thing is we're getting ready to get into the cold temperatures again. We're supposed to get down to 18 degrees and snow. And apparently, I don't know, we're kind of like on the edge, it seems like. But I think it's supposed to start snowing at like 7 o'clock at night. It's not going to end till 1, so it could be pretty significant. I'm not going to cover these up this year. It doesn't hurt anything. I spent all my time getting tarps out, trying to cover everything up. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, in the winter time, it's very difficult to pressure wash because I got to hook up the system and disconnect it. Well, I have this garden hose that comes from the IBC tank. And so the IBC tank gives me water to run the pressure washer throughout the summer. But I got to get inside the box to hook that up. Well, it's getting ready to go down to 18 degrees, so I don't want to tear in the box because I got a heater in there. And at 18 degrees, I like to start that heater up. So I don't want to hook that hose up until after I know it's not going to freeze anymore. So I'm trying to figure out how to run the well. Well, the other day it was just completely cloudy. So that means I had no solar. So what I did was, I took the 2 Champion generators and I paralinked them. And it works great. That paralink just, I mean, I bought the paralink so I could weld off the 2 generators. And so the 2 generators can now run both the well and the pressure washer at the same time. And it did a really good job. Now, I've told you all the problems I've had with that one. That one, you know, I ran it too hot running the well with propane because propane runs hotter. So, but I was only at 50% load with the well and the pressure washer. It was only 50% load for that setup. So, you know, it wasn't hard. So there's the pressure washer cord. Here is, let's see, this is the well. And this is the house. But I just, you know, unplug this from the inverter. This is the inverter. This wire goes to the inverter. This goes to the well. I just unplug that, put that here, and then I can run both the well pump and the pressure washer at the same time. This will come in handy when I have to work on pressure washers. Working on pressure washers has been kind of a difficult thing because you got to run the water and you got to test it. Well, that IBC tank pump can't keep up with the gasoline pressure washers. That's why I bought an electric one, actually, because the pump can keep up with it. But now with this setup, I'll be able to test those pressure washers without running out of water because I'll have the well that will give it all the water it needs. So, kind of working out the kinks in this system. I think I don't know, I feel like I messed up the other day and I started to run the well out of water. I pressure washed that John Deere over there. And then I waited, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, let the well fill back up. And then I filled the IBC tank up. And right when I went to shut it off, I lost pressure on the water from the well. That means the well ran out of water. Well, I tell you, that doesn't make sense. It's because the well pump runs faster than the recovery rate of the well. But it just didn't make sense because I wasn't using that much water. So, I don't know, maybe I did. Maybe I should have just waited a little bit longer before I filled the IBC tank, but I mean, I made it. I didn't hurt anything. So I guess I'll jump off of here. So if you'll click this up next box, take the video over my other channel, really appreciate it. Go check it out. So if I can inspire you to work out the kinks so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.